IIMC is in charge of the information infrastructure. So what we are going to talk about is more about the infrastructure. I had many slides in English, but when I prepared it last year, I was asked to change it to Japanese, and based on that learning, I decided to prepare it in Japanese. But this year, I received a request very soon, very recently, to make it into English, but it was too late. So that's why I have it in Japanese. And this is the education, learning, teaching and learning we hope to realize. We aim to realize personalized education that satisfy the individual need of each individual students. This is what I think Kyoto University is trying to aim at. Although nobody say it clearly. So ultimately, using ICT, we should be able to offer an environment to enable personalized education, just like the health. We make it personalized. Then what are the unmet needs of a university? 5 years ago, I was given a job to lead the Institute for Information Management and Communication. I realized that there are no clearly mentioned strategy objectives. And as the director, I prepared to clearly state the objective of the Kyoto University. And it took me 18 months to clearly state the objectives. Now Kyoto University has a clear objectives under the leadership of the former president. And the overall mission and objective should stay the same, although the president may change. And for ICT, these are the basic objectives prepared within the institute, supported by the professionals. So these are the strategies for ICT. And there are 5 effective use of information resource and the information environment with world standards, because we aim to internationalize. And we need the high-level interactive communication, and we need to promote research. And we have to make it easy to concentrate on jobs by offering ample support in terms of management and administration, so that the faculty can focus more on education. So starting with the strategy, we now have a more concrete roadmap. And our institute offers broad support not only for the education, but also for research. And we also need to support administration and must offer the infrastructure of information. So we have 4 areas of support. Today, I will focus on education, but basically, good portfolio, good open courseware, and the international content delivery. This all means high level of communication. ICT environment to promote autonomous study. So we have a lot of objectives under the support for the education. By clarifying the objectives, the advantage is that we can share information by anybody concerned within the university. And the faculties can start their discussion based on these objectives. Kyoto University is not the so-called top-down type university, but now that we have this strategy, this serves as a common understanding by all the faculties, and they can start their discussion on this area more effectively. Now that we have a clear roadmap, BYOB, within the university, are saying now that in 3 years, the university-provided devices will not be replaced by new ones in 3 years, meaning in the future. And the devices brought in by students themselves are to be utilized. Or we have only 100 devices ready for rent and lease only if the faculty can prepare a very interesting course. So we are going to give them 3 years to think about better way to use the devices and computers of students themselves. How much support can we give? We are not sure. But in collaboration with Professor Yoshi's center, we want to see a good outcome. And this shows you the current situation of the education-related information. These are the information about the student and the course management and the student management. We now have a good coordination among different systems. Professor Karita is working very hard. Professor Kaida is working very hard. And we have a course management system. And this is Panda or Sakai. And for the registration, although the current capability as a student information system may not be sufficient, but we have classes registration system. And this is the grading, the management system in the administration office. And as for the course management system, there should be a possibility to connect the contents uploaded to the MOOCs or OCW in the future. System-wise, we have the capability, although the contents are not provided from faculties yet. It's up to the faculty to prepare good contents. Now we have Professor Yamagiwa as the new president, and he's saying that we have to focus on students, and meaning we need to strengthen our support to students. Panda and the courses are given for 15 weeks, but classes used for the registration. And for the support, the classes is partially used, but this one has a capability to deliver contents, and that content delivery capability is shifted to Panda to streamline the whole system. And MOOC and OCW, or active learning e-portfolio, are to be provided in order to strengthen the support to students. At the same time, the good thing about learning with the use of ICT is that you are given an opportunity to observe the learning behavior of students. We need to conduct observation in a unified manner, in a consistent manner. Today, we simply focus on the assignment, examination, the results, and the syllabus and the expected content. But in the middle, what's happening during the course is not clear. But now we have the Panda and BYOD. Using all those ICT capability, we should be able to observe which students is learning what, where, and when. And we want to keep the data as a personal learning record. We do face many difficulties. Students are learning in different situation settings. We can observe only when the students are connected to Panda, but all learning experiences of all students should be observed. This is how we should improve the system. So ultimately, this is what we want to observe. We want to create a kind of learning portal so that the students will remain connected as long as they are in the campus. Or we can use a better rubric, better standards, and by using observed data, we can monitor whether what's happening is according to the rubric or not. Interaction is going to be the key. Learning should be interactive, two-way in the future. So we need to think about how we can observe interaction. So our institute is not a research organization, but as a part of our management or administrative work, we hope to implement observation. For an institute like this, even though I instruct members to do it, it's quite difficult to change the way people work because there are so many jobs they have to do. So, but I have to work hard. We need to observe not only individual students, but also groups of students. And we want to locate a student at every moment in the first and the second week. What are the changes of the behaviors of students? We want to have a total view, and the data observed must be collected together so that the big data will be utilized one of the way to assess the students' learning. Recently, you often hear people say today's students are different, and the faculty say that we have to give them capability to think themselves on their own in a flood of information. Students understand things easy to understand, but not anymore if we don't support them. So we have to give them opportunity to develop their thinking capability within an environment with limited amount of resources. They should be given an opportunity to think deeply. It's quite important for students to develop a thinking capability, not relying on the simple sheer volume of information. But what can we do? Whenever we think about the information infrastructure at Kyoto, we are far behind the U.S. Counterparts, so we know what we should do. And we have to catch up, but also we want to try something very innovative and interesting at Kyoto. Active learning, or the flip learning, is what we want to realize, offering support with ICT capabilities, or self-learning environment. How can we provide it? And we need to observe how students are learning in a self-learning environment, and that data must be made available to faculties. So we need to accumulate the data sets for each individual student, and that observed data should offer support in guiding faculty in teaching those students. BYOD or small group discussion must be also supported by ICT, and we need to offer better environment for self-learning. We need to offer capability to log the learning behaviors so that we can visualize learning experiences of students. And that kind of information should enhance the support provided by faculties. This is the first learning commons in our library. Not so many ICT devices, only 1 or 2 projectors. So we hope to enhance ICT capabilities in the existing learning commons. These kinds of spaces are under control of each individual, the academic department, and it's quite difficult to negotiate with each individual department about how to include ICT later. But we changed our the strategy, and we offer recommended plan, and only when one particular department decide to introduce those ICT capability according to our recommended plan, the institute is ready to support them. This is how we are going to do it. So institute offer recommended plan. Of course, we are happy to have individual efforts by the faculty. But our institute is more about the standardized the capability prepared according to our recommended criteria. This is what we hope to promote and want to see how it works. Talking about the future, to make this kind of situation possible, what should we do? Talking about the individual information of the students, it's log data of the behaviors of each individual students, but this belongs to the privacy. So that at the time of the admission to the university, we need to get the informed consent from the student about the use of the information. But the objectives would be stated like, we are going to use your personal information for your advantage. And the statement would say that the detail will be described later on the home page. So within the framework of for your benefit, the data will be utilized. And once the clear objectives are determined, it will be stated on the home page. And we want to get this kind of informed consent at the time of admission, meaning you have one opportunity for 4 years of experience in a university. So we have to be successful when the student joins the university. Like U.S. universities, we hope to improve our capability in providing useful information to the students, like the opening for the part-time jobs on the campus. So we need to offer better portal so that the students find it useful to come to the portal. And Professor Iyoshi is offering support for the contents creation, but you need software-based support. So under the leadership of instructional designer, our institute wishes to provide a good support for the actual creation of the content. ICT environment alone is not enough to induce professors to prepare better contents. We offer the infrastructure, and the infrastructure is supporting faculties who are giving lectures. But it's possible that the faculty professors do not understand how they should use various capabilities. The Panda is not so widely used among the students because the faculties or professors do not understand how to use it. And we need to offer the explicit support to faculties, because otherwise they may not disclose that they actually don't understand how to use Panda effectively. What we can do may be limited, so we need to get support from Professor Iyoshi's organization. And you should go beyond the limits of our university, together with universities in Japan and abroad. Now that we have a better infrastructure of information, we need to start creating collaboration among other universities. We are looking for partner universities. If the partner is so much advanced, it's quite difficult to find the mutual benefit. So we want to find partners at the similar level in terms of the information infrastructure environment. We are visiting various universities trying to find the best partners We need to understand the possible partner's needs and trying to match that with our needs. We need to connect data of learning before the students join the university and also after leaving the university. We have so many challenges and we have lots of ideas to improve the situation. And with this, I would like to conclude my presentation. Thank you very much.